his down payment will also be able to pay for the piece of ground at the memorial park. And so it's substantial amounts of money just to get this thing rolling, but without ever having a major six-figure donor, just grassroots, by selling these things, we'll be able to raise that money to get that started.
Nice.
On the Range podcast with Rick Hogg and Mark Kelley.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of On the Range podcast with Warhog Tactical and Kelley Defense. I am Mark Kelley from KelleyDefense.com, and join with me, as always, is my co-host and friend from Warhog.com, Rick Hogg. How's it going, buddy?
Man, Mark, it's going great. Big shout out to Recoil Magazine for the invite out here at CanCon, South Carolina 2025. We've got a super guest today. We've got Tim with the Marine Scout Sniper War Memorial. So, Tim, we're going to let you take it away and tell us what you guys got going on over there.
All right. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Well, thanks for having me on. I really
Absolutely.
It's crazy that I ran into you here because I know we saw each other back at the NRA thing.
That's right.
But so we're a vendor here. The guys at Recoil were nice enough to invite us to come out and set up for free. But we're trying to build a Marine Scout Sniper War Memorial. We're the Marine Scout Sniper Heritage Foundation. We're a legal subsidiary of the USMC Scout Sniper Association, which has been around for 28 years.
Wow.
And so we just started the Heritage Foundation about a year and a half ago, and for the specific purpose of trying to build this memorial. Somebody brought up the topic of memorials one day, and there's all sorts of them out there, but somebody realized that, hey, there isn't one for Scout Snipers. And it's like, well, that's just weird, because we've been around for over 100 years.
Yeah.
Marine Scout Snipers came to be in 1918 during World War I. And we had a school at Quantico, Virginia, and things kind of progressed from there. We fought in every climbing place, as the Marines say, and so it was time. It's been over a century, and it's time to honor those guys. So that's what we're doing.
Absolutely. And then where's the memorial going to be at?
Yeah, so we're planning on putting it at Quantico, Virginia. The National Museum of the Marine Corps is up there. If you've had a chance to see it, it's an amazing place. Smithsonian-level museum, obviously. The reasons why that's a great location for us, though, is not only is it our museum, but it's right outside of Quantico, which is our birthplace. So 1918, that school was at Quantico.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So if there's the Semper Fidelis Memorial Park right outside the museum, and we've kind of already picked out a spot that we like. It's all the way in the back. So we like to be in the back of the class, know, and it's also on the highest point of elevation. So nice overwatch position.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, before we get into it, I know you're a very humble guy. We spoke a lot this morning. Tell us about yourself a little bit and where you come from.
So, Tim Parkhurst. I lived right up the road here in Hendersonville, North Carolina.
Nice.
Got a family, been married 33 years, but I spent 25 years in the Marine Corps, got a little bit of broken time, so that kind of got stretched out a bit. I was a Scout Sniper for just about a minute back in the early 90s, and that time was formative for me as a Marine. Learned a lot about what I know and believe about leadership and that sort of thing, and the human condition, as a young Scout Sniper. And that sort of really set the stage for the rest of my, what I thought was a pretty successful career. I owe a lot to the Scout Sniper community and just the opportunity to be a part of that group, The young men that I worked with back then were some of the finest individuals that I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. And I know most Scout Snipers feel the same way about their crew, their platoon mates and their teammates. And it's been a pleasure. The Marine Corps had me all over the world at different times. I did the whole OEF, OIF thing. I did Desert Storm back in the day and whatever.
Yeah.
But
We
So
know Desert Storm.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm kind of old, but I'm young enough to,
We're 29, as we like to say.
Yeah, we're 29, exactly. Right.
Yeah. It's funny that you say formative years because Rick and I talk about it at length, and all of us went to do things much later after that and longer.
Sure.
However, those beginnings, it's just unbelievable how effective it can be in shaping what we turned out to be.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you talk about leadership, which Marines talk about it all the time, whether they're good at it or not, but it's one of those things that, you have a formation as a leader, and there are times when you're young that set the stage for everything that you do that follows on from that. And a lot of leaders don't bloom until later in life. And I'll be honest with you, I was not the best leader around. There are guys that served with me that'll tell you Tim was a prick. He was, whatever. And I made mistakes. We all make mistakes, but I feel like I got a better handle on things now. I'm in the right place at the right time to do a good thing. With this project, and I've got a great team. Which is that's the biggest part of it that people don't see. I'm the president, and I put myself out there, and whatever, so they see my face and hear my name. But I've got a bunch of great directors who, most of whom are scout snipers from different eras. We've got some great advisors on our team. Major General James Hartzell, Hammer Hartzell, is on our advisory board. We've got a great historian, because part of what we do now is not just building the memorial, but it's uncovering that lost history of scout snipers. And so Colonel John T. Hoffman, who was once the deputy director of Marine Corps History Division, is on the team.
No kidding.
And, we've got Jake Wood, who's the founder of Team Rubicon. I don't want to miss anybody kind of going through the list here, but, we got 2 retired Sergeants Major, Sergeant Major Booker, Sergeant Major Zicafus, both of whom are Silver Star recipients and who were scout snipers coming up in the Marine Corps, and who became Major Command Sergeants Major, who everybody knows, and some other really outstanding guys. But most of the guys on our board of directors, those are advisors, but our directors, most of you wouldn't know who they are. They're just guys like me that served back in the day, and we're just proud to have been part of the club.
Sure.
And but they're all passionate about this because everybody's lost somebody.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And one of the things that we've uncovered with this historical research that's geared towards the memorial is we have found more names of scout snipers who eventually were killed in action at some point than we ever would have thought.
Yeah.
And the ratio of killed in action to our active duty population is ridiculous.
Really?
It's like half.
Oh my gosh!
Half.
Wow.
Right, and so this is not a competition.
No.
Nobody wants to win that competition.
No.
And every American lost in service to the cloth is a tragedy. And we recognize that as much as anybody. But to have an active duty population throughout our history of about 300 to 400, and to have at least 200 now that we've identified as killed in action. That's a huge number.
Yeah.
Right? It's just a huge number. And, I don't know if there's any other community out there that has a ratio like that. I hope not, because that sucks.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
But it's a big number, man. We're finding new names every day. And that kind of speaks to, one of our additional mission sets. Obviously the memorial is first and foremost. We want to get that thing built. But if we are going to build a memorial, we want to identify by name everybody that we're memorializing. We feel like we're honor bound to do that.
Yeah.
And nobody can tell us.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody can tell us who those guys were. Because the Marine Corps never kept track, because we were never a primary MOS. And so I could go to the history division at Headquarters Marine Corps, or the Marine Corps Archive, or even Manpower and Reserve Affairs up at Headquarters Marine Corps. They could tell you maybe here just in recent years who served as a scout sniper, because it's all electronic, right? But prior to that, they can't tell you. And so we're doing the research to uncover those names, and we're finding more and more all the time that we verified, using the same criteria that it takes to join the Scout Sniper Association as a regular member. You either served actively in a sniper platoon, a sniper unit, you graduated from an MOS producing school, or you served in combat as a scout sniper for any period of time. Those are the 3 kind of basic criteria, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And applying those same criteria, we've got about a master list of about 3,000 plus Marines right now that were scout snipers. And out of that all-time list, we're sitting at about 200 right now, KIA.
Yeah.
Wow.
And counting. So
wow.
Yeah. So is the War Memorial going to have those names etched on there, or how is that?
So no, probably not.
Okay.
We thought about doing that, but there's so many, and because we're finding more all the time, trying to go back and change it after the fact if we find more.
I got you.
That's really problematic, right?
Okay.
So what we've decided on is that we're going to have this memorial, and at the memorial site, there will be a way to access the whole roster as the roster grows.
Yep.
So whether it's a QR code that's etched somewhere on the pedestal or on the wall next to it or whatever, there will be a way to access that, and that list is growing all the time. And you'll also be able to access the history, that goes along with the names.
Awesome.
So
Wow.
that's kind of the concept.
That archive and that discovery piece, that's got to be a big piece of what you're doing. But like you said, you're focusing on the memorial itself.
Okay.
But that, getting that history down, I'm guessing you're spending a lot of your time doing that. It has to be.
Yeah, and it's fascinating. And I didn't realize how much I loved history. I've always been, interested in history, and I once thought that I wanted to go to college and get a degree in history, but I never did, like a lot of guys. And but this has just really rekindled that whole thing. There's so much, when I went through sniper school, as I said, we heard about Carlos Hathcock, white feather from Vietnam.
Yeah.
And we learned about that era and how Carlos and Jim Land and people like that were sort of the progenitors or the founders of the modern era of Scout Snipers. What we didn't know was that there were several eras prior to that of Scout Snipers, going back to World War II and World War I, where it wasn't just like, hey, you qualified expert on the range, and we have this extra rifle laying around that's super accurate. Here, you go do God's work, right? That's what we thought the sniper program looked like back then.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was a real, honest-to-God, formal program, Headquarters Marine Corps directed in both Great Wars, both World Wars, where we had a formal school with a formal staff permanently assigned. 1918 at the Overseas Depot at Quantico, Virginia, the instructor staff was probably a dozen guys, depending on the time frame. And the Marine Corps itself has documented that they trained over 450 Marines in that course just in 1918.
Wow.
And, of course, the guys from 5th and 6th Marines who were part of the 4th Marine Brigade, they all deployed prior to that formal school actually beginning in early 1918. They deployed in 1917 and went over to France. But they were doing the job.
Yeah.
Right? They were given the same rifles, the 1903 Springfield with the A5 Winchester optic was a purpose-built sniper rifle for the Marine Corps that we contracted to buy a whole bunch of those things. They went over to France, and some of them stayed behind at Quantico to serve for the instruction that took place at Quantico in 1918. They had a Canadian captain who had been a sniper in the Canadian Army. He was wounded in action in 1916, and by the time 1918 rolled around, he was already back in Canada, and they sent him down to be our senior instructor at Scout Sniper School. And we actually have a photograph of him.
Wow.
In a class graduation photo. So we know that the very first class there was in March of 18, and the last class graduated 2 days after the armistice in November 1918.
Wow.
And that was it. And then the program went away. So fast forward 25 years, and a new program begins for World War II. But we know that people were talking about scout snipers and having a sniper capability during the in-between times. There was a Marine by the name of Henry Pearson Crow, really interesting character. So this guy joined the Marine Corps, I think in either the 20s or the 30s. I don't remember when he came in, but he was an enlisted guy. Made it to the rank of gunnery sergeant. And then at some point he becomes a warrant officer, a gunner, a Marine gunner, one of the old bursting bomb types. And in 1941, before Pearl Harbor, he's promoted to chief gunner, which is the senior warrant officer, bursting bomb gunner. And he's with 8th Marine Regiment out at Camp Elliott, California, and he's training them to be scout snipers. He's running a scout sniper school for 8th Marines, and this was in a Leatherneck magazine from October 1941, prior to Pearl Harbor. And so this is just unit level stuff that they see the writing on the wall. We're going to go to war with Japan. It hadn't happened yet, but things are looking kind of likely. And sure enough, just right after that, they bombed Pearl Harbor, and we're now at war. And while, the history of all that, with the Japanese taking all the islands in the South Pacific, the Philippines and all that, and Guam and Wake, and then we were just on the kind of back on our heels, right, trying to defend against their, offensives. And it wasn't until Guadalcanal that we really turned the tide and we went on the offensive. But Guadalcanal was a long and bloody slugfest of a campaign. But it was during that campaign that we actually were toying with scout snipers, reconnaissance assets and scout snipers. There was a Colonel Whaling. He had been the XO for 5th Marine Regiment, and they actually relieved him and his boss at the same time, and they decided to reassign him to take on this volunteer thing that he just said, hey, let me do this. And what he wanted to do was train 100 guys as scout snipers. And so they called it the Whaling Group, and he was given free rein to teach reconnaissance, patrolling, and the whole idea was for the whole 1st Marine Division to increase its skill level at patrolling, basically. But in the process, he's training scout snipers and he's training reconnaissance Marines, and that was the early history of both for World War II. And while that's happening in 1942, back in the States, the Commandant of the Marine Corps was also having conversations with folks on the West Coast and throughout the Marine Corps about establishing a formal program. And so that happened, and in the end of 1942, he approved it, and a formal school started at Camp Elliott, California, and another one over in New River, North Carolina. So on both coasts, we're training scout snipers for the war. And we had a table of organization of a platoon of scout snipers at the regiment. The platoon on Tarawa, really interesting. Every Marine officer knows who William Hawkins is because he's a Medal of Honor recipient, and he earned the medal on Tarawa and was killed in action. And they named an officers club or something at Quantico. So every Marine officer that goes to the basic school or whatever goes to the Hawk, the Hawkins Officers Club. And so they know who he is. But what gets glossed over and not talked about in Marine Corps history is that he was a platoon commander for a scout sniper platoon for 2nd Marines on Tarawa. So he had a whole platoon of these guys who he trained to be scout snipers. And you're like, well, how did he know how to train them to be scout snipers? Because he graduated from Scout Sniper School before he deployed as an enlisted Marine to Guadalcanal.
Yeah.
That it was that informal school that Chief Gunner Henry Pearson Crowe was running in early 42 before it became formalized, and he was a graduate of it. And so he went to Guadalcanal as an enlisted guy, attained the rank of sergeant, got battlefield promoted, pinned on his lieutenant bars in New Zealand, and promptly was assigned to choose, handpick, and train these scout snipers. And so he was a trained scout sniper and was able to pass that training on to them. And that platoon earned a Medal of Honor, a Navy Cross, and 15 Silver Stars in the space of 72 hours.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, anybody that served and knows those medals knows what a phenomenally ridiculous legacy of valor that is. We talk about standing on the shoulders of giants all the time.
Yeah.
And, I mean, there's men that I look up to that you'll never know their names, but they were great mentors to me. But things like this, nobody knows the names of these guys except for Hawkins because he won the medal, right? Right. But we have 3 Medal of Honor recipients that were scout snipers. One from World War I, we got Hawkins from World War II, and then we got Dakota Meyer, who's still living, and they were all scout snipers. And from such a small little community.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to do. Honor those guys.
So what are you doing now? So what can everybody learn and what can they do to help?
Yeah, so you can come visit us on our website at scoutsniperheritage.org. scoutsniperheritage.org. And we're on all the social channels at some variation of Scout Sniper Heritage. And, we have been kind of organically fundraising all along for the last year and a half since we started this effort. And we've raised a fair amount of money, but it's only about 10% of where we need to be. We're trying to raise $2 million to build the memorial. But we've had a handful of sort of major donors that are at the $5,000 and $10,000 level, but nothing above that.
Yeah.
Right? And so no major donors have stroked a 6-figure check or anything like that. But this, so we've created some swag, which I'll show here on
absolutely.
camera. So this thing is a an enlarged 4-to-1 scale replica of a 7.62 sniper cartridge, the M118 long range cartridge.
Yep.
It's got the Lake City head stamp with the LR for long range. This particular year was 2012. It's got the Sierra Match King open tip, right there.
Yeah.
It's precision machined out of aluminum, and oh look, this unscrews. What is that?
Oh,
It's a drinks flask, right? It happens to hold exactly 1.5 ounce, which is one shot. So one shot, one kill.
Okay.
Right? You guys see what we did there?
Oh, yeah.
I like what you're doing
Nice.
there. Yeah.
So we're only making 762 of these.
Okay.
They're serialized. It's got our logo on it and everything.
and you get an inscription on the other side, right?
Yeah, we got our slogan: "Remember the sacrifice and honor the legacy." And like I said, they're serialized. There's only 762 of them being made. We also have a 762. Yeah, right. So we also have a decanter that can go along with this, or be separate, whatever. It's much more expensive, but it's also on the website. You got to check it out. When we sell these, the reason this is important is because this campaign to sell this and the decanter, they're both limited edition runs, and they're both highly collectible. And they're just a premier products made by Hotspur in the UK. It's owned by a UK Special Forces veteran, SAS guy.
Yep.
Fantastic company, very creative. And but this flask and the decanter, once they're sold, we'll have made enough profit to be able to hire our sculptor, right? The guy who's going to do the bronze sculpture.
Okay.
We'll be able to get him on contract, pay his down payment. We'll also be able to pay for the piece of ground at the memorial park. And so it's substantial amounts of money just to get this thing rolling, but without ever having a major six-figure donor, just grassroots, by selling these things, we'll be able to raise that money to get that started.
Nice.
And so there's some relatively well-known people who people would recognize if I dropped their name, but I'm not gonna because it's premature. But they have said that if we get our sculptor on contract, and he's actually producing art for us, that he would step in and help us get across the finish line.
Beautiful.
Wow.
And that guy is, everybody knows this guy, right? So I'm just putting that out there.
We'll just leave it there.
Yeah.
I do have one question for you.
Yeah,
so
man.
you have to pay for the real estate at the museum.
Yeah, so the museum is run by the Marine Corps Heritage Foundation, and it's a nonprofit itself.
Yep.
And so all of the memorial sites have a price tag associated with them.
Okay.
So we're getting one of the larger. There's three different sized sites.
Okay.
The largest of those is a Rally Point monument site, and so we're going to purchase a Rally Point monument site, and that's $110,000.
Okay.
But the advantage to that is, not only is it a great location because it's at the museum,
Right.
it's open to the public every day of the year except Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yep.
It's free to the public. And it's also our birthplace right there at Quantico, right? So it couldn't be a better location.
No.
The location, the location I get.
Well, so where this comes in financially for us is, if I were to just buy a private piece of land and build a memorial and put it on it, who's responsible for maintaining that for the life of the memorial?
You guys are.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
So every memorial that's built at the Semper Fidelis Memorial Park, we do a deed of gift, and they have an endowment specifically to cover ongoing maintenance and restoration. If it breaks, if a tree falls on it, whatever, they take care of it.
Yeah.
And so as long as we're not trying to modify, and that goes back to the names. If we put names on it and we want to go back and fix it, that's on us.
Yeah.
But if it's just routine maintenance, if it's annual cleaning, if it's, a kid climbs on it and breaks it, they fix it. They pay for it in perpetuity.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the huge benefits of putting it in the Semper Fidelis Memorial Park.
Wow.
Yeah, and I learned because the SOF K9 Memorial is down at the Airborne Special Operations Museum at Fort Bragg.
Yeah, I've been there. That's a great museum.
In Fayetteville. It is.
Yeah.
But it's a unique deal because the museum is a nonprofit.
Yeah.
But it has Army ties.
Yes.
So it's that strange balance where it's technically U.S. Army property. And that's why I just kind of asked.
That's exactly the same relationship. So the Marine Corps gave up that property to the Marine Corps Heritage Foundation for the purpose of building a National Marine Corps Museum. Yeah. And the Memorial Park and everything around it. Yep. And so that's the public-private partnership that occurred, and that's the Marine Corps stake in it. Yep. But it's the nonprofit Marine Corps Heritage Foundation that runs that, and they've built an amazing facility there. The museum itself is I mean, it's Smithsonian level.
Oh, yeah.
Right, and it's gorgeous. The grounds are beautiful, and that memorial park is something that every Marine, I think every serviceman should go see it at some point. It's just an amazing place.
If you're driving down 95,
Yeah.
you can't miss it. Right,
Yeah, it's boom right there.
Make a pit stop, and I'm going to tell you this: if you're traveling north, definitely make a pit stop. Depending on what time you're going to hit that traffic, because once you cross that Quantico threshold, your traffic's horrible going into DC.
That's it. Yeah. So you might as well take the triangle exit and just stop off at the museum.
That's it.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's amazing. And for the individual, maybe they're not interested in something like that. Is there a donate feature on the website as well?
Absolutely. So, we're like any other website. We have a donate button. So if you want to just give directly instead of buying one of these things, absolutely. We also have brick pavers.
Yep.
Let's say you served, you got a grandfather that served or an uncle, and maybe you want to honor him or her. Maybe you're just a good patriotic family, and the Smiths family loves Scout Snipers, and you can just put that on a brick.
Yeah.
We don't care. And whatever it is you want to put on there, there's 3 lines of text, 20 characters per line, and that brick will go around our memorial, not just out there on the walkway somewhere, but around our actual memorial.
Yeah. All your supporters.
Nice. So you can find those on the website, and lots of ways to help. You can just go to our store and buy swag, get a T-shirt, a hat, a coin, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Or you could have done the raffle.
Or you could have done the raffle,
which somebody didn't win.
Man,
because you're an Army guy, probably.
Probably. The Army guy.
No, man, I literally push a button online, and it goes doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, and it spits out the numbers. So. But fantastically enough, both winners for the first place prize and the second place prize were actual Marine Scout snipers, which that's never happened to us before. We've had a Scout Sniper win a few years ago for a Scout Sniper Association raffle, but we've never had both winners be Scout Snipers.
That's
that's kind of cool. Yeah,
that's very cool.
And
any events or anything? I'm sorry. Any events coming up that you're going to be at that's going to support?
Yes.
Okay.
So the Marine Corps 250, right? It's our 250th birthday. We're going to tell everybody whether you like it or not.
You guys celebrate the Marine Corps birthday? I never heard that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So it's a thing, And so the Ton Tavern, right?
Yes.
We were born in a bar. If you haven't heard, we'll tell you about that too. And the bar was called Ton Tavern in Philadelphia. The original no longer exists. It's been gone for a long time. Got buried by I-95 or something in Philly.
Yeah, that's a shame.
But about 150 yards away, right there in Old Town Philly, there's a group called the Ton Legacy Foundation that's rebuilding Ton Tavern. They're going to rebuild the actual tavern.
Okay.
That's amazing.
So last year around this time, on November 10th, they did the groundbreaking. They're still working on it. They're still fundraising, but we support that cause big time. So I was there last year. I'm going back there. I'll be in Philly later this weekend. As soon as I leave here, I'm jetting up to Philly, and I'll be there on Monday for the Marine Corps birthday.
Awesome.
Nice. So we'll have our tent set up. Come by and visit us, and support the Tons, support the Scout Sniper Legacy or Heritage Foundation.
Yeah. We'd love to support all that and have you come back on and keep us updated with the progress and anything that we can do, because I know we give you guys a hard time, but we love our Marines, man.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you don't love me that much because you didn't bring me crayons.
If
you really cared,
we thought about it.
Yeah. If you really cared, you would know my favorite flavor is purple.
We didn't want them melting.
But you don't even know.
That's right. Yeah, that's great.
It's all good, man. It's all good fun.
Well, it was a pleasure having you here. Like I said, come back anytime. And for us, thank you for making this part of your day. Go check out ontherangepodcast.com. All the stuff that we talked about today is going to have some hyperlinks in the description. So make sure that you go check that out and support everything that they're doing over there. It's a great cause.
For the rest of you guys, don't forget, be an athlete, be dangerous, and we'll see you on the range.